actually supposed to be writing an article for New York Magazine on ambition. And I had been interviewing all of these powerhouse guys in New York. You know, well, what's your ambition for New York? Well, I'm an architect, so I'm just going to change the skyline. And every time I put up a new building in Manhattan, I go, yeah, it was a good day. Okay, go. And a lot of you may have that feeling too. And I ask people, well, when did you first know you were ambitious? I've always been ambitious. I had 2 full-time jobs when I was 2 years old. And I kept hearing this again and again, and it started sounding like folklore of what an ambitious person was supposed to say. Right up there with, I walked to school 10 miles in the snow, uphill both ways. This was the ambition version of it. So Po and I were talking, and we're like, well, but what if they're right? What is the key to motivating a kid? So we started looking in the science of it, and Po lives in San Francisco and I live in LA. So we're on the phone 4 hours a day, emailing constantly back and forth. I called him, Po, I'm gonna send you something. I want you to read it right now, call me back. Oh, Ash, I got this thing. Nope. I'm gonna send you something, you're gonna read it, you're gonna call me back. Ash, nope. And I hung up on him. I don't do that normally. I'm the one not hanging up the phone. 20 minutes later, Po calls. Oh my God. I said, I know! What I had just found was the research about a researcher who was at Columbia, now at Stanford, named Carol Dweck. Carol Dweck has been studying the effects of praise and rewards and motivation on kids. And the study that I had emailed him, and the one that ended up going everywhere in New York Magazine, was a study with 5th graders. They were randomly assigned. Half of the kids, they were all going to take this sort of IQ puzzle thing, right? Half of the kids at the end of the first test were going to be told, wow, you did really well on this. You must be really smart. And the other half of the kids were told, wow, you worked really well on this. You must have worked really hard. One sentence of difference. You must be really smart. You must have worked hard. Then they had another round of puzzles. Kids pick, which puzzle do you want? This one's easy, easier one than what you just did. It'll be fun. This one's hard. You're really gonna have a hard time doing it, but you'll learn a lot. The majority of the kids praised for intelligence picked the easy test. The majority of the 90% of the kids praised for effort picked the one they'd learned from. Then everybody was given a test for 7th graders. They planned on everybody bombing, right? The kids praised for intelligence, assigned to that randomly at the start, were sweating and fretting and literally going like this as they were failing. You could see the anguish. The kids who'd been praised for effort were saying, wow, this test's my favorite one. They were still bombing, but they were enjoying the experience. Then they gave them one more test. This was the same thing as the same level of difficulty as that first test, right? And now we would expect all of the kids to improve. It's the practice effect. I mean, they've already done this 4 times. The kids praised for intelligence, their scores dropped 20% from the very first time. The kids praised for effort, their scores increased 30%. One sentence of praise difference, randomly assigned. I read this, sorry, and I have to tell you, I felt sick to my stomach. I wasn't excited, I was terrified, and I was angry. I have a dirty little secret to tell you, not one I wanted to tell my New York editors. This was a study first published in 1998. How come I hadn't heard of it? If I had heard about it, I might have done something differently. I've been tutoring inner city children in Los Angeles for 10 years. I started a program of tutoring. I mean, it's nothing compared to the gentleman on my left, but I've been working with around 800 kids myself. And when you walked in that door, I was gonna make up for every bad thing that happened outside of tutoring by praise and rewards. They'd walk in without tripping. Honey, you're a genius. Seriously. And they loved it. It's not that praise was ineffectual. It's very powerful. 85% of American parents think it is important to praise a child for intelligence. Now, it's interesting. Why is that? I think this is an outgrowth of the self-esteem movement. In fact, it was a Canadian researcher, a psychologist named Nathan Brandon, who wrote a book where he argued that self-esteem was the most important part of a person's being. If that was good, everything else would come. Now, a lot of people misunderstood his work, but the high or low point in really the kicking off of the self-esteem movement was in 1984. The state of California issued a task force to study self-esteem. And how could we boost it? And the idea was, if we boost kids' self-esteem, their achievement will come along for the ride. We'll give them the confidence that they know they can do it. Because what it is right now is it's a lack of confidence. Self-esteem is one of the most researched topics in all of psychology. Over 15,000 studies since 1970. Roy Baumeister was asked by the Association for Psychological Science to do a meta-analysis. Put all of this stuff together and tell us how great self-esteem movements are. He said yes, because this was his life's work. And he realized of the 15,000 studies, 200 were actually what he considered good science. What was wrong with the other ones? Well, they asked people with high self-esteem, how are you doing? People with high self-esteem said, oh, I'm fabulous, thank you. I'm kind of attractive, I'm wonderful to be around, smart, intelligent. The 200 studies that worked were the ones where they asked those people's roommates and the office workers and the bosses, and it's, oh my God, he won't negotiate, he won't listen, and he's really not that attractive. It turns out that self-esteem does not encourage achievement, because it's the same thing that Carol Dweck learned. When you tell someone you're innately great, there's no need to improve. You're good. And rather than actually trying to improve yourself, what you actually end up doing is get concerned about image maintenance, continuing to get that praise that I'm smart, I'm special, I'm awesome. But the problem is, there's a lot of media around there about the helicopter parent. I don't buy it. I really don't. I think most parents are doing whatever they can for kids with whatever money or time or resources they've got. And God bless everyone who is a parent for doing that. I am afraid, though, of the bubble-wrapped kid. The kids who are treated like China dolls. They're wrapped in rewards and praise and, oh, no, you have a problem? That's okay, we have professional tutors who can arrange that for you. Or we'll have this or we'll have that. Parents and caregivers, and I have done this too, all of this, I'm guilty. When your kid's struggling, oh, I missed the goal at the field goal in soccer, what am I doing? Oh, no, honey, it'll be great. You'll get it next time. I do not have a crystal ball. I don't think you guys do either. What happens when that kid misses the kick the next time? It's not about building self-esteem. What we want to do is have kids trust us, that we're people to actually listen to and people to care about. So now, when you think about Carol Dweck's research, as excited and as empowering as it was, I was sort of angry I didn't already know it. That piece ended up being the catalyst for a book that Po and I just wrote called NurtureShock, New Thinking About Children, which is why I was very excited to be a part of this panel. And I want to spend the rest of my time talking a couple of those other things that I'm angry that it took me writing a book about the science of kids before I learned it. And I hope that you guys will all think about these ideas and get the word out. And we're going to start it by a Pop Tech Pop Quiz. You guys ready? It's not hard. Well, some of you may bomb, but it's okay. You're ready. You ready? Everybody out loud. as quickly as possible. I want you to listen to my instructions and do them, and just yell it out, okay? Don't listen to the other people around you. Complete the following sentence logically. The boy walked his dog. There was some silence. Not everybody got that? Okay, complete the following sentence illogically. The boy flew his? I heard some kites and planes in there. Okay, raise your hand if you said kite or plane. Who thought, it's not kite or plane, but I don't know the answer? Yes, that's a test from David Dingus. It is about sleep deprivation. One of the... Yes, it is. What happens is the brain perseverates. You get stuck on the wrong idea, but you don't know what the right one is. That's the first symptom of sleep deprivation. And then all of you are going to start yawning soon. It's not because I'm boring, it's because I'm reminding you that you need sleep. Now, even if you got the answer correct on that second one, some of you may be dragging a little bit by now, jet lag, conference. 60% of American high school students report extreme daytime sleepiness every day. 1/3 of kids admit to falling asleep in class at least once a week. And that's what they admit to, come on. 25% admit that their grades have suffered. Why is this? Well, it's a lot of reasons. Technology, you know, spend a night on the text, right? We don't want to be the hard ass and tell a kid, go to bed. Especially high school students, they should know. 94% of high school students set their own bedtime. They're grown up enough. A lot of it's money. Schools save money on buses by having one fleet take the high school kids at 7 in the morning and take the younger kids later. Easy enough, right? 5% of American high school seniors get 8 hours of sleep. Biologically, they're adolescents, their brains are still developing. They should be getting 9.25 hours of sleep. 5% get 8. If it drops below 8, that doubles the level of clinical level depression. I'm not talking little sleep. I'm talking about high school students who are walking around so depressed, yeah, we got some yawning going on, that they actually could get meds and therapy, and what they need is to go to bed. One of the other things we really want to think about is we didn't know the cost. I mean, we're all tired. We'll get over it. We'll take a nap tomorrow. We'll sleep on the plane home. Turns out, Ave Sadeh had 6th graders move their sleep just a half an hour 3 nights in a row. Nothing, right? They gave them an IQ test on Friday, the 3rd day. They scored like 4th graders. A half an hour of sleep less, 3 nights in a row, the 6th graders lost 2 full years of cognitive development. A students get 15 minutes of sleep more a night than B students, who get 15 minutes a night more than C, and it goes all the way down the list. By the time you're getting an A and an F, you're getting other socioeconomic things, right? The kid who's an F student might not be getting sleep because maybe he's got a nighttime job, or it's not supervision. There's other things going on, but every 15 minutes counts. Matt Walker did this research where he had college students have sleep deprivation. We can't do that to kids. We can move their bedtime. We can't have them sleep deprived. It's considered child abuse. But we can do it for college students because we give them, you know, a pizza and college credit. So the college students were given a list of words, and then they were told to come back after 36 hours, don't go to bed. And then Matt gave them a list and said, what do you think? Have you seen these words before? The students remembered 81% of the words like cancer and death. They only remembered 31% of the words like basket or sunshine. It turns out that sleep deprivation hits the hippocampus, which is in charge of memory and more rational thought, harder than the amygdala, which has got more of the emotion and fight or flight. People who are sleep deprived literally see the world in a more negative, difficult way. There's some researchers who argue that teen rebellion, well, rebellion's a real thing, teen moodiness is actually all sleep deprivation. Now, is there a way to fix this? Yeah, get kids more sleep. Edina, Minnesota moved its start time an hour. What happened? The top 10% of their graduating classes' SAT scores went up 200 points. That was back in the day when it was a 1,600-point scale. But even more than that, they said the kids' quality of lives improved. Everybody thought, oh, people would drop out of, extracurricular activities because they would be too late, they would do sports. Turned out more kids signed up for sports. More kids signed up for extracurricular activities because they were awake. And those top kids who were already at ceiling, they already got an A, they already got the SAT perfect score, they already have 100 extracurricular activities, they were less depressed. They were happy about it. They actually felt in control of their lives. There's another school in Kentucky that moved its start times. Car accidents relating to teenagers dropped in that one district 25% compared to the rest of the state. It turns out that there are 100,000 fall-asleep car crashes in the United States each year. Over half of them are young people. We need to think about sleep as a health issue, not just this black box of time. And I'm a sleep when you're dead girl. When you have 17 of the world's sleep experts tell you you're going to lose it on the other end, kind of stop saying that. But it's one of those things that can change kids' lives. But do we have the political force to actually make it happen? Now you go, well, we should do this then. There's all this good science about it, right? A friend of mine teaches at a magnet school in San Diego, and it's a busing school, a theater group. Her school's bell start time is 7:05. There are kids on the bus an hour and a half. So there are kids on her school buses on the bus at 5. They'd read some of my research, and they knew what the book was coming out, and they had a big school debate. They were going to move it 15 minutes. Just like we said, every 15 minutes counts. Didn't go through. 15 minutes is the difference between an A and a B. A wake-up call for all of us is that sometimes improving kids' lives and improving kids' education is much easier than changing everything about a kid's life. My tutoring program, we don't. But if I give them a little more sleep, the world might open for them. Thank you very much.